Hello, in this video we will go over how to clean data using Python. In this tutorial we will use Jupyter Notebook to teach, but you can also use other tools similar to PyCharm if you want to automate cleaning data. Here's an overview of things you will learn in this lesson, or some things you might want to review before. To split values or take chunks of a value, we use the split function. The melt function can change the shape of a table from long to wide or wide to long. The drop duplicates command removes duplicate rows. You can delete rows using subset and filtering techniques. The replace function can replace values with news or remove parts of values.
Hello guys, I'm going to go over the tutorial version of Skill 82 cleaning data with Python. I'm going to use Jupyter Notebook. You can use other IDEs as well if you want. Just won't work exactly the same, but if you want to automate stuff, you can code it in PyCharm essentially, and it'll do it all at once versus one at a time and you checking things. So yes, but essentially yes. So I will first use first I'm going to import pandas as PD, and that's pretty much the alias is PD. I imported data1 using the read Excel file. Import book2 and import book3, and I named them data3 and data2. Make sure you upload these sheets inside Jupyter Notebook before trying to run this, or otherwise it will not work. So first situation is in data1, as you can see, there's this full name column, and I want to split it into a first name and a last name column, but I want to split it at this little underscore here. So let's say you have the situation that pops up, you want to separate that. To do that, I will use this str.split, and it says I want to separate at the underscore, put the underscore in here between quotations. And if I run that, essentially it does this, where it creates two separate variables from the initial variable. And now I want to put those separate variables into its own column. If you look at data1, I need two more. I'm going to make two new columns. So to do that, to make a new column, you just pretty much the variable of the table, you pretty much put in brackets the new column name, and then dot split str and then 0. The 0 means I grab this first column, because 0 in Python is the first, means 1, so it grabs that first column for me. And what it does is it makes this new column using Mary and Billy, essentially. So after that, same thing for last name. So to make a new column called last name, I just put the variable brackets and then the new column. I want the name of the new column. Data split. I just called split is this variable right here. Split is that contains these two rows, and then I use 1, so that way I will grab the second column, and then boom, I was able to separate first name and last name into two new columns. So this is one way you can do this if the situation comes up at work. So next is the melt function, and what this does is you can turn data that's long. Essentially, let's look at data2. Data2, if you look at it, this is what we call wide data. Sorry, it's called wide data. If I want to turn wide data to long data, I'll use melt, and vice versa. If I want to make long to wide, I would use melt. So I'm going to turn this wide data into long, and I'm going to melt it, but I'm going to keep this column the same. So I'm going to keep this column in the format it is, but I want to flip these around essentially. So I'm going to turn these sideways essentially. So to do that, I run melt. I put the data or the table inside, and then id vars is the table that I do not want to change its format. And then boom, as you can see, it flipped the table over now, and it just gave these random names like variable and value as the column names. But you can change those. You can just use the rename function to change these essentially. So if you look at this compared to this, you'll see exactly what happened. So these values all went into its own column, and these, the title or the column names, went into its own column now. So yes, that's pretty much what it does. Right, so now I'm going to use data3. So this is pretty much a little subset of a table that we're going to use, and we're going to drop the duplicates. So as you can see, row 0 and row 2 are the same, so just do this function called drop duplicates, and to save the action, you want to do data3 equals data3 dot drop duplicates, and as you can see, it removed the extra row. So now the rename columns, like I was saying earlier, how do you rename column names? So essentially, you do data dot rename, or whatever your table is, variable the table is under, rename columns. So we use a little dictionary here. So it's the actual current column name and then the new column name that you want, and you do in place. So that way you don't have to do this essentially, but you could if you want. And if you run it, you should see that the column name changed from uppercase zone to lowercase zone. So yes. And now, how do we drop columns? So let's say you have some unnecessary columns, so just reduce the data because you don't really need it for what you're doing, or you only need a chunk of it. So if you want to only use a chunk of it, you can use the drop command and just mention the column, and it will drop that column essentially. So yep, that is what it is right here. So you can see the zone column is gone. So now there's the remove. So let's say I want to remove a specific value in the table. So let's say you have a bunch of values, or someone's social, or someone's birthday, whatever, and you want to take that value out the table. You will use this subsetting technique alongside with exclamation point and equal sign, and that will remove that data point from the table. And pretty much this says does not, like everything except for this, essentially is what this says. So if you look at it, it's pretty much in this column, I want everything except things that have this value. So it'll give you the data table version without this. So as you can see, this became NaN because it removed the 2a from itself. Where was that? It was 2a drop. But yes. Wait, I'm going ahead of myself. Where is it? But yeah, see, 2a is here. That. Now 2a is pretty much gone. So yes, but okay, cool. So as you can see, let's see, where is it? So yeah, zone 2a. So like, and they remove the whole row. Keep in mind, this remove the whole row. So pretty much, this is good for removing. So let's say this is a condition that you want to use to get rid of a whole row. This is what you would do to remove that whole row. So any rows that have this condition are removed from the data set. Okay, cool. So let's say there's data that's missing, empty data points, empty cells, or just corrupted data. You use the fill and a to fill in those, and I'm just using n/a. Otherwise, Python just leaves it as NaN. But you can see after I ran this function, it is now n/a, like I requested it to put. Cool. Okay, cool. So let's say you see this number right here. It's just considered an outlier. It doesn't seem to match the rest of the data set. I'll recommend you check with your manager to see if this fits or not. But if it's an outlier, it's a filter for values above a certain size or whatever. You can just simply use a subset with equal sign and stuff like that. So for this, pretty much what this says is give me all the values that are less than or greater than 3. And after I ran that function, as you can see, this whole row is gone now. Yeah, so that's the way. So this function gets rid of a row that meets, this condition, and this one gets rid of a row that has this condition, or rows that have this condition. So that's what these two are really useful for if you want to delete rows. Now, if you want to, yes, and then if you want to replace values inside of a data set. So let's say you put like the wrong name. You want to change that name. We're going to replace this with this. And using the replace function. And these brackets are very important. Once you do that, 1b became 1r. And you can also just leave it as empty as well. So let's say you wanted to like have this empty. You can also do that as well. Anything with 1b inside, to just empty it, run this is put nothing inside, make sure there's no space at all, and then it removes it completely. That's how you can remove just specific values in the row without getting rid of the whole row. Please specify But yeah, and this goes to like the whole data set. You can specify a column specifically if you want. Well, cool. Moving forward, data 3. I'm going to reload data 3 again. I kind of messed it up with my cleaning methods. So data 3 is here now, just to make sure it's here. Okay, cool. So essentially, let's say you want to get rid of a piece of a value. So let's say I want to get rid of this 1, right? We use lstrip, and we use lstrip, which stands for left strip, because it's on the left. So I want to keep B, get rid of 1, so I'll use left strip to get rid of this. So if I run this, I specify the column that I want, str, turn it to a string, lstrip 1, and now it removes all the 1s in that column, as you can see. Now it's just B's. So let's say now I want to get rid of this A, right? But it's on the right side of 2. I'll use rstrip instead now to get rid of anything on the right of the 2, because I want to keep the 2. Run this command, and as you can see, the A is gone. So these are many different methods you can use to clean your data and reshape your data, essentially to be in the format you need it to be, and remove any unnecessary values or issues you have with the data or problems. All right, thank you guys for watching, and check out SlapJax for any other questions you might have.